Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
What's going on, good people? You're listening to the Afternoon Praise here on Wave Radio, and it is what? It is Build Up Brand Wednesday. We are midway through the week, and I'm celebrating you right now because you made it through Monday and you made it through Tuesday, and I know you accomplished what you set out to accomplish for those 2 days. But guess what, people? The week is still here and we still got to go strong. And you know what today is? It is Build Up Brand Wednesday. Yes, it is Build Up Brand Wednesday. And today, guess what we're doing? We are still helping you reach your defined level of success by discovering and developing your gifts. And I say this every show. This is not just inspiration, people. This is alignment. This is structure. I'm trying to get you to execute at a level like never before. See, Monday, we defined the gift. Tuesday, we built the strategy. And today, we deal with the gap. Because this is where people fall off. They have the gift. They have the vision. They have the strategy, but they don't have the governance. And without governance, everything becomes inconsistent. Because the highest expression of your gift is not the gift itself. It's the environment that sustains it. That means your gift is not the problem. Your management of it is. So today, we're talking about managing the environment where your gift operates. Let's look at 1 Corinthians 14:40. Let all things be done decently and in order. That's not just spiritual. That's not just a spiritual instructions. That's operational strategy. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Join us on this heavenly journey, one song at a time, Wave Radio.
You just tuned in to the Afternoon Praise here on Wave Radio, and this is Build a Brand Wednesday, and we are talking about your gift needs governance. Yes, talent without governance is a liability. Your gift is powerful. Yes, it is. But without structure, it becomes a liability because unmanaged talent produces inconsistent results. One day you're effective, the next day you're off. One day you're locked in, the next day you are scattered. And inconsistency destroys trust, not just with people, but with yourself. You start questioning, can I really do this? Why am I not consistent? What's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you, ma'am. Nothing is wrong with you, sir. Your system is weak because talent without governance creates high moments, but it does not create sustained results. And this is where many gifted people get frustrated. They know what they can do. They know what they are capable of. They know there's something inside of them that can help people build something, lead something, or change something. But because there's no structure around their gift, the output keeps changing. And when the output keeps changing, the trust around the gift starts changing. So the issue is not whether you are gifted, people. The issue is whether your gift has enough governance to become consistent. Because a gift without governance will always produce inconsistent results. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
You're riding the waves of faith and grace on Wave Radio.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. Let's talk about discipline is designed, not force. Yes, I said it. Discipline is not something you feel, it's something you build. See, research shows disciplined people don't fight temptations more. They avoid it through structure. They don't rely on willpower in moment. They design their environment so the right decisions is easier. So discipline becomes automatic, not emotional. This is where people miss it. They think discipline means waking up every day and forcing yourself to do what you don't want to do. But let me say this. High level discipline is not built on constant resistance. It is built on design. You design your schedule. You design your environment. You design your routine. You design your boundaries. So when it's time to move, you are not trying to fight yourself into action. The system has already prepared you to act. That's governance, people. You are not leaving your gift at the mercy of how you feel. You are building the environment that makes discipline easier to repeat. Because discipline that depends on emotions will eventually break. But discipline that is built into structure can carry you long term. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Stay tuned and stay blessed here on Wave Radio.
If you just tuned in, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise, and this is Build a Brand Wednesday, and we are talking about your gifts need governance, or your gifts, whatever, how many you got. Hopefully you mastered the ones instead of trying to do a lot of things. But that's why governance is very important. Let's talk about consistency outvalues talent. See, a disciplined B-level performer will outperform a gifted but inconsistent A-level performer every time. Not sometimes, but every time. Because consistency produces results, and results build trust, and trust create opportunity. So it's not about being the most talented. It's about being the most reliable. This is important because a lot of people overvalue their talent and undervalue their consistency. They think because they are gifted, people should automatically trust them. They think because they are gifted, people should automatically just flock to them. But trust is not built from potential people. Trust is built from pattern. People don't just watch what you can do. They watch what you repeatedly do. They watch how often you show up. They watch how you deliver. They watch whether your standard stays the same when pressure increases. That's why consistency is a brand issue. Because every time you execute with consistency, you are telling people you can trust me. You can trust me more and more and more and more. That's what consistency tells people each time. But every time you are inconsistent, you create hesitation. So the question is not just, am I gifted? The question is, can people trust my gift to show up with consistency? Because again, people, consistency is what moves your gift from impressive to dependable. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Stay tuned and stay blessed here on Wave Radio.
You're tuned in to the Afternoon Praise here on Wave Radio. You got a shout out, hit me up and I will make sure I get your shout out on. Hey, I want to shout out my Mount Zion Baptist Church family. We are one church in 3 locations. We have our main campus in Greensboro. We have our RDU campus and we have our Charlotte campus under the great pastor and Bishop Brian J. Pierce, which is my spiritual father. Man, we love you. I love my church. And I just wanted to shout y'all out. You know, I speak to the masses and I want the masses all over the world to know where I worship and who my leader is. But let's talk about governance is choosing your future self. Yes, we got to choose self instead of people. Every decision you make is a choice between present comfort and future success. Governance is choosing your future self. It's waking up and doing what matters, even when you don't feel like it. Because your future is built on decisions, not intentions. And that's where many people get stuck. They intend to grow. They intend to build. They intend to become better, but intentions without governance keep getting interrupted by impulse. You say you want the future, but your present habits keep voting against it. That is why governance matter. And I'm going to keep drilling this in, people. Governance is the part of you that says, I know what I feel right now, but I know what I'm building. And it's the part of you that can see beyond the moment, beyond the tired moment, beyond the moment I don't feel like going no more, beyond the moment nobody is liking my post, beyond the moment nobody is commenting. You gotta see past the moment. And it's the part of you that does not allow present emotions to steal future results. Because every time you choose discipline, you are making a deposit into your future. Every time you choose structure, you are honoring the gift. And every time you choose consistency, you are telling your future self, I'm building something you can stand on. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Stay tuned and stay blessed here on Wave Radio.
I want to thank you for joining me on this beautiful Wednesday. You call it Hump Day Wednesday, but I call it Build a Brand Wednesday. And we are talking about your gift needs governance. Let's talk about time discipline is non-negotiable. I know some of y'all be like, oh, Lord, here we go. Yes, a lot of us have problems with time. Time is not something you spend. It's something you manage. And if you don't control your time will control your output. Most people think they don't have enough time. That's not the issue. The issue is they don't have control over how their time is used. I'm there, I'm still there, and I'm working on that. Because every time you allow distractions, every time you respond to everything, every time you shift your focus, you're not losing time. You're losing quality of execution. Let me say that again. You're not just losing time, you're losing quality of execution. Let's go to some research. Let's go to, let me say this is not my opinion. So research shows it takes up to 23 minutes to fully regain focus after a single interruption. That means one distraction doesn't cost you a moment, it costs you momentum. So now multiply that across your day. You didn't have a productivity problem, you had a governance problem. High performers don't just manage time, they protect it. They decide when they work, what they work on, and what gets ignored. Because if everything gets your attention, nothing gets your best. And if nothing gets your best, your gift starts producing beneath its potential. That is why time discipline is non-negotiable. Your calendar is not just a schedule. It is a reflection on what you value. And if your calendar is controlled by everybody else's urgency, your gift will never have the space to mature. So you have to govern your time so your gift has room to function. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Stay tuned and stay blessed here on Wave Radio.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise, and if you miss part of this show, you can always go back to Wave Radio and listen to the whole show in its entirety without the songs we play on the radio. Or you can go to my YouTube channel, The Business Point Guard. All the shows are there. All right. In today's show, we are talking about your gift needs governance. So let's talk about protect your decision capacity. Every decision you make drains energy, even the small ones. What to wear, what to eat, what to respond to, what to prioritize. It all adds up. And what most people don't realize is by the time they get to the most important work of the day, they are mentally exhausted. That's why, again, research shows decision quality declines over time. Even judges make worse decisions later in the day. Not because they lack knowledge, but because they lack decision capacity. Every performer understand this. So they don't just work harder, they work smarter. They eliminate unnecessary decisions. They automate their schedule, their routines, and their workflow because they don't want to think about small things. They want to think about important things. That's governance. And this matters because your gift requires clear thinking. You cannot manage a gift at a high level while your mind is overloaded with low-level decisions. So you need structure, you need routine, you need systems. You need fewer decisions around things that don't move the mission forward. Because when your decision capacity is protected, your execution improves. And when your execution improves, your gifts become more consistent. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Bringing the sounds of heaven 24/7, Wave Radio.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise, and this is Build a Brand Wednesday, and we are talking about your gift needs governance. Energy control is the real advantage. You don't just need time, you need energy. Because you can have all the time in the world and still produce nothing if your energy is off. Energy determines your focus. Energy determines your creativity. Energy determines your execution. And most people ignore this. They push through fatigue. They work when they are drained. They operate without awareness, but high performers don't do that. They study their energy. They know when they're sharp. They know when they're focused. They know when they produce their best work. And they align their schedule to that. And research shows this. Research shows we operate in 90-minute cycles of peak performance. So instead of forcing productivity all day, they maximize output in the right windows. That's governance. Not just managing your time, but managing how you show up in that time. Because you can't just ask, do I have time? You have to ask, do I have the right energy for this level of work at this time? Some work requires creativity. Some work requires strategy. Some work requires people skills. Some work requires deep focus. And if you put the wrong task in the wrong energy window, you make the work harder than it has to be. Energy control is how you stop wasting your best focus on low-level tasks. Your gift needs your best energy, not your leftovers. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. This is Build a Brand Wednesday. Do you know flow is where results multiply? There's a level of performance where everything clicks, where you're focused, clear, locked in. That's called flow. And in that state, research shows productivity can increase up to 500%. Think about that, people. Same person, same time, but completely different outputs. The difference is environment. Flow doesn't happen randomly. It requires uninterrupted focus, clear direction, and minimum distractions. That means you don't stumble into high performance. You build the condition for it. And if your environment is chaotic, your results will be too. This is why governance matter. Your phone cannot control you. Notifications cannot control you. Everybody's emergencies cannot control you because flow requires protection. And if you don't protect your focus, you will never consistently produce at a high level with your gift. Flow is not about just feeling. It is the result of an environment that has been managed well. So if you want higher output, don't just ask for more motivation. You can't be motivated your whole life without doing nothing. Ask yourself, Have I created the conditions where my gift can actually focus? Because focus is where your gift multiplies. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise, and I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown. I love motivational videos, motivational speeches. I love to watch people motivate people. But let me tell you this. Habits remove the need for motivation. See, I don't need to be motivated to record my show. I don't need to be motivated to get in my word or to study. I don't need to be motivated to do that. I understand my purpose and my gifts, and I had to create habits, good habits around producing quality content, a quality show. So I'm saying this, people, habits remove the need for motivation. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and it goes, but habits are stable. Habits remove the need to think. They remove the need to feel. They remove the need to decide. They just execute. Research shows it takes around 66 days to build a behavior into a habit. That means consistency is not optional. It's required. And this is where most people quit. They stop before it becomes automatic. They rely on motivation too long and never transition into structure. But once a habit is built, you don't have to push yourself the same way. It becomes who you are. And again, that's governance. And this is where your gift begins to mature. Because when your execution becomes a habit, your gift is no longer waiting for inspiration. It has a rhythm. You don't have to feel creative to create. You don't have to feel confidence to show up. You don't have to feel ready to execute. Your habits carry you when your feelings are inconsistent. And that is how you build sustainability. You create habits strong enough to carry the gift when emotions is not available. Hey, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise, and this is Build a Brand Wednesday. You remember when I said this a few shows back? You don't rise to goals. You fall to systems. See, people love setting goals, but goals don't produce results. Systems do. Because goals are temporary. Systems are ongoing. Goals tell you where you want to go. Systems determine if you actually get there. And here's the truth, people. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Because when things get hard, when you don't feel like it, when pressure hits, you don't operate at your highest intention. You operate at your lowest level of preparation. That's why systems matter. Because systems don't depend on how you feel. They depend on what you've already built. A goal can inspire you, but a system carries you. A goal can give you direction, but a system gives you discipline. A goal can show you the destination, but a system gives you the road. So if your results are inconsistent, don't just revisit your goals, audit your systems. Because your systems are telling the truth about what you are actually built to sustain. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. It's funny because every time I come on, I smack. So if that ignores you, I apologize. I'm working on that piece right there. But let's talk about your brand is built on patterns. Your brand is not it's not what you say, it's what you consistently do. Because people don't believe statements, they believe patterns. They watch how you show up. They watch how you respond. They watch how you execute. And over time, they form a conclusion about who you are. That's your brand. Research shows people trust predictability. They trust what they can expect. So if your behavior is inconsistent, your brand becomes unstable. And an unstable brand creates hesitation. People don't know what version of you they're getting on today. They don't know which version they're getting you tomorrow. See, people don't know what version of you they're going to get. They don't know what level of work you're going to deliver. They don't know how reliable you are really. So they don't fully trust you, people. And without trust, there's no growth. That means every day you show up, you're either strengthening your brand or weakening it. Because your brand is not built in moments. It is built in patterns. And this is why governance matter for brand building. Your brand is not just your logo. It's not just your colors. It's not just your content. Your brand is the repeated experience people have with you. If the experience is consistent, trust grows. If the experience is inconsistent, confusion grows. And confusion weakens the brand. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
Thank you for tuning in to the Afternoon Praise with me, Demetrius L. Brown, here on Wave Radio. Make sure you share Wave Radio with someone. Make sure you share the Afternoon Praise with someone. Don't just keep this to yourself. You got to share this with someone. Help us grow this station. All right. So inconsistency creates a trust gap. Inconsistency doesn't just slow you down. Inconsistency doesn't just slow you down. It creates a trust gap. Because when people can't predict your behavior, they start protecting themselves from you. They hesitate, they second guess, they don't fully commit. And that shows up in missed opportunities, lost partnerships, and limited responsibilities. Because high-level opportunities require reliability, not just talent. Research shows inconsistent high performers are seen as high-risk assets, meaning they're talented, but they're not dependable. So they don't get the highest level assignments, and this is where people get frustrated because they feel overlooked. But it's not a talent issue. It's a trust issue. And trust is built through consistency. This is why your gift needs governance. Because people can admire your gift and still not trust your process. They can respect what you do or what you can do and still hesitate to give you more. Because high-level rooms do not just look for brilliance. They look for reliability. They want to know, can I trust this person with responsibility? And if your patterns say no, your gift will be limited by your inconsistency. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise on this Build a Brand Wednesday, and we're talking about your gift needs governance. Inconsistency kills momentum. Momentum is powerful, but it's fragile. And every time you stop, you don't pause your progress, you reset it. Because starting over requires more energy than continuing. That's why inconsistency is expensive. It forces you to rebuild focus, rebuild discipline, rebuild rhythm every single time. So instead of moving forward, you keep restarting. And restarting feels like movement, but it's not progress, people. It's not progress. It's repetition. High performers protect momentum. They don't stop and start. They maintain. Because maintaining is easier than rebuilding. And governance is what allows you to maintain. This is why you cannot keep treating consistency like an option. Consistency is the bridge between where you are and what you say you want. Every time you break rhythm, you create more work for yourself. Every time you keep rhythm, you make success easier to sustain. So the goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to stay governed enough that you don't keep losing momentum, because momentum is built through repeated alignment, and repeated alignment is how your gift gains strength. Hey, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
Thank you for tuning in on this Build a Brand Wednesday. And I want to shout out all the people who are sending in their prayer requests. Thank you. Thank you for trusting us to pray over your situation and to pray over your life. Again, our team are getting back to the ones who want to get us to get back to. And if you chose not for us to contact you, just know you are still in our hearts. You are still in our minds. We are still praying for you. All right. Hey, let's talk about schedule the hard things first. High performers don't wait to feel ready. They schedule what matters, because if it's not scheduled, it won't get done. Life will fill your time, people. Distractions will take over, and the most important work will get pushed to the side. So they do the hard things first. They handle strategic thinking, deep work, and important decisions before anything else has a chance to interfere. Because they understand something most people don't. Your best energy should go to your most important work. Not what's urgent, not what's loud, but what actually moves you forward. That's governance. And this is where you have to be honest with yourself. Are you giving your best energy to your assignment? Or are you giving your best energy to distractions, reactions, and everybody else's priorities? Because the hard thing usually carries the greatest return. The hard conversations, the hard discipline, the hard planning, the hard execution, the hard decisions. That's where growth is hidden. And if you keep avoiding the hard things, you will keep delaying the next level. Schedule the hard things first before your day starts negotiating with your future. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I want to be free. Yes, I want to be free. How many of y'all want to be free out there, man? Be free of people who suck up your time, free of things that gives you no return. How many of y'all want to be free? Okay, me. Let me tell you how you do that. Governance creates freedom. Most people think structure limits them, but it doesn't. It frees them. Because when your system is strong, you don't have to think about everything. You don't have to decide everything. You don't have to force results. Your system handles that. And that's where freedoms come in. Yes. Not from doing whatever you want, but from building something that works without consistent effort. When your system is strong, you don't have to chase results. Results become a byproduct of how you operate. And that's when things change, because now you're not trying to succeed. You're built to produce success. This is the power of governance. It gives your gift room to breathe. It gives your mind space to think. It gives your work rhythm. It gives your brand consistency. And it gives your future something stable to stand on. Structure is not the enemy of freedom. Structure is the road that freedom travels on. Because without structure, your gift is constantly fighting chaos. But with governance, your gift can move with clarity, consistency, and strength. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. My time is up. I thank you for joining me on this Build a Brand Wednesday, and we are talking about your gift needs governance. Let me leave you with this. 1 Corinthians 14:40 says, "Let all things be done with decency and in order." Now, I'm sorry, let me read the scripture right. Let all things be done decently and in order. Order is not restriction. Order is power. Because when your gift is governed, it becomes consistent. When it becomes consistent, it becomes trusted. When it becomes trusted, it becomes valuable. And when it becomes valuable, it produces results. But none of that happens without structure. None of that happens without discipline. None of that happens without governance. Because at the end of the day, people, your gift doesn't just need opportunity. Your gift needs management. It needs structure. It needs discipline. It needs a system that allow it to function at a high level. Because without governance, your gift will always produce inconsistent results. So today, people, don't just celebrate your gift, govern it. Don't just talk about what you can do. Build the structure that allow you to do it consistently. Don't just ask for more opportunity. Ask yourself, am I managing what I already have? Because opportunity without governance create pressure. But governance prepare you for opportunity. And when the environment is managed, the gift can function at a higher level. This is how you build. This is how you grow. This is how you move from potential to performance. And that is how you reach your defined level of success. Hey, a gift without governance will always produce inconsistent results. But that's not you, people. Hey, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I am out of here. Man, this has been great. And guess what tomorrow is, y'all? Tomorrow is Thrive Thursday. I'll catch you then. I'm out of here. Peace.
Stay tuned and stay blessed here on Wave Radio.